Om Namah Shivaya. This is Arsonist Fire. I'm here on the way of Dharma. If you are new, welcome to the way of Dharma. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The topic that we are about to discuss today is a very interesting topic. It's a topic and a video that is there to talk about something similar to that of the previous two videos. So I want to start it by saying this first. Surely you wonder why I'm wearing glasses in a dark room at this time of the night. Could it be that I'm on drugs? Could it be that I can't see? Could it be that I'm afraid of the camera? We don't know yet. Let me tell you why. One of the ways to identify the reptilian or the Chitauri is that they can't stand the brightness of the African sun. They can't even stand the climate of the African continent. So it's none of the reasons that we were suggesting when we started the video. This is just to show you that we are living among beings that we can't even comprehend of. We see such things being portrayed as fashion, being portrayed as glamour. But what is the reason behind some species wearing glasses? They can't see in the African side. Going further in the topic of UFO reptilians, the secret alien races of the KGB Russian book. Today we're discussing some of the alien species that have been spotted in Africa ever since the existence of humanity. Pay attention. I don't want to have to repeat this to you. I don't want you to miss some of the details that I'm going to explain to you. Do you like the eye contact? Let's continue. Most alien races, as you see in pictures, are actually alien species that were shot, maybe, let me say, the pictures were taken after removing the costumes that they had to wear to come to this planet. The common sense would be this: since the climate and the planets are different, wouldn't you say it's more reasonable to come to Earth with a costume to kinda safeguard you and protect you from the atmosphere of the Earth? It's exactly so. But there's an alien species that lives amongst us that doesn't require any of those things to actually live. What is this alien species that I'm talking about? The tall white. One of the alien species that Africans came across are the tall white. Okay. The tall white, as you will see when I indicate over here, the tall white has features of the ordinary white people. Okay. It is said that the tall white has hair of a goldish metallic color. It also has a drawing or a tattoo of some sort on its third eye and also just below the neck. On the thorax, yes, the thorax, not Forex 3D. The thorax, or is it that? Okay, this part, okay. On that part of the body, the tall white is said to be very, very slim, and then it is actually tall to about how many feet? Let's say 6 feet as a start, because I forget these things. So much on my mind. I have to enhance my memory. I shall use that. So the tall white has metallic goldish hair, has eyes that are blue, basically. So what was Hitler actually doing when he was talking about a superior race? He was trying to preserve some of the bloodlines of the tall white. Not going further into Hitler, let's go back to the subject of Africans when they spotted this creature, this extraterrestrial. This extraterrestrial when it was first spotted in Africa, the Shona people, they call it Muzungu or Wazungu. Zulu call it Mulungu. That's where the name Abelungu came from, as I learned that from Baba Credo. Okay. Now this alien species that I'm talking about actually came before even the current present day average white person. Okay? It came even before that. The white people today, they are called Abelungu. One meaning a singularity of that name would be Mulungu. Damn it, mosquitoes. Have you ever watched Snakes in the Eagle Shadow? Damn it, mosquitoes. So, the first encounter of these aliens, they called it Abelungu. It means something about the people of the whirlwind, because it is said that their spaceship aircraft, whenever it traveled in a movement of a whirl. Okay, so they called them the travelers of the whirlwind. So that's what the name Mulungu means. All right. So now, fast forward 2 years later, during the colonialism, they say that the beings that were colonizing were similar to that alien being that they saw, which were called the Wazungu, Mulungu, and those names. So the name Umlungu is used to refer to the white men, because the white people are closer in features to the alien tall white. Okay, so but then in my previous analysis and my previous video, I spoke of the human being the humans being of a same origin and same anthropomorphical being of a same species. I refer to all human beings, humanoid species, as being, not all basically. The current humans, as we see it, obviously there's an intermingling of different races. I was referring to all those different races as all being human, basically. Okay, but what's troubling me about that analogy or that conclusion is this. In the video by Baba Credo Mutwa, where he speaks of the tall white, the first encounter of the tall white, he says that the first encounter of the tall white was terrible, okay, and that tall white species is infamous around Africa, okay, for its terrors that it causes to the Africans, basically. So he then says the name that was used to refer to that species is called Walungu, Muzungu, Mulungu, Abelungu. He says that that's the name that it was used to refer to. So, seeing that the white people have same features, so the Africans automatically referred to the white people as Abelungu. However, he says that the first encounter of the tall white was terrible, okay, and then later on, when we encountered the actual white people, the encounter also wasn't of a peaceful nature. He says that, okay, but then when I sit and think, it strikes something in my mind what he said. The commonalities of the encounters of those two different species, the commonality of that thing, I will leave that to you because I don't want to say something I might later on regret. Okay. So now let's talk about these alien species. Among the alien species are the famous Nomo, which are also spoken of by the Dogoni, the Dogon tribe of Mali. Years ago, there was an alien race that came to Africa to talk to the African people. Remember, I said that we were transported to this planet to inhabit it, and we were given rules to live on this planet. Okay, fine, perfecto. So years later, these normal alien species, the ones that come from the star of the red dog, the Sirius star, they came to give rules to the African people. What exactly are those rules? The rules of how to live in this environment, how to not exploit the environment's resources, and how to preserve this planet and actually leave it in a space where we actually found it, basically, because we were to come here and live and learn a certain thing, and then after living a certain way, after going through that trial, we would have to go back to our normal throne in the galaxy space scheme of things. Okay, so they say that the alien species had a sermon that took days, basically. It was a lecture, a teaching that took days, and then upon the conclusion of that lecture or that teaching, the aliens, the normal, did a pact with the African people. I don't know what the pact was, but then after doing the pact, the alien species that was speaking, it was old, of course, that was speaking, it exploded and shredded into pieces. And then both the aliens and the humans consumed that dying alien as a form of pact. Okay. As a form of pact. So that was the first encounter of the normal beings. Okay. It is said that the normal beings have the face of a fish-like face, you understand? And then it would have webbed hands and webbed feet, basically. You see it over here? So that's how it looks, basically. Another alien species that was encountered in Africa was the man, or rather the extraterrestrial, that was called Mbondini. Okay. The word Mbondini comes from the root word root words B and Ndeni. Ndeni, which refers to you. When I would refer to Arsonist, I'd say Arsonist Ndeni. That would mean I'm referring to Arsonist. Okay? Arsonist Ndeni. Okay? And then the word mbi is a root word for ugly. These are actually Xhosa words. You understand? So when the Xhosa encountered that alien species, they called it Mbondeni because it would describe the actual look of the alien. They say that the alien is ugly, so they used the word Mbondeni to refer to it. So Mbondeni means that which is ugly, or him who is ugly, her who is ugly, that which is ugly. So it is said that the Mbondeni wears a certain armament, and then it has a slit for the eyes, basically. It also, like many other aliens, upon encounter of that alien, you would be hypnotized in a spell, like, you understand, like that's the energy that they have, basically. It, upon their encounter, you feel hypnotized. Okay. And then when you panic, the Mbondeni is said to come closer to you and stretch out his hand and puts it on your chest to actually put you in a trance, and then you ngamanya, you understand, you fall, you ngamanya, and then it either disappears. I don't know, I forgot, man. So that's what the Mbondeni does. Going through Facebook, I actually came across the same thing as the Mbondeni. In Mexico, is it Mexico? Yes. They have artifacts that were unearthed. They say that the artifacts are some sort of artifacts wearing an armor. Okay. But then when I look at the Mbondeni from the encounter of it in Africa and compare the two damn things, I can see similarities, basically. So, I don't know. It is said also that when the Mbondeni was encountered in Australia, it was given the name Vonjin or Mvonjin. Do you notice the similarities in sound? The similarity of words, which further goes to prove that we are actually one thing. So many similarities among native cultures in dialect and language. Talk about that next time. Another alien extraterrestrial would be the who? The Sifufufu. Now this guy, Now this guy, this just came now. This guy is similar to who? To Batman. They say that the Isifufufu looks like a moth or a bat. Now looking at the Sifufufu, the armor it's wearing, Nimba, you'll see it over there. It has wings basically, and then under its wings that are also hands basically. You understand? So the wings are also hands, and then it flies about in the African sky. It is said the Isifufufu is normally seen just after sunset basically. Upon seeing the Isifufufu, they say that it releases something. Does it release something? Yes, when it encounters you, or yes, something like that. When you encounter it, it can make you blind by a certain chemical. I can't quite remember. A certain chemical that it pours in your eyes, and then it blinds you permanently. And then this is where the African superstition came about, that when you see God, you actually go blind. It was from the encounter of the Isifufufu. You understand? So it looks like Batman. So the movies that we watch are actually something else, you know? Are actually something else. So the Isifufufu looks like Batman, and then there's another alien extraterrestrial that the Africans fear the most. The most evil of the Shitauri, the extraterrestrials, is one extraterrestrial called the Mhondoruga. It is said to have a body like that of a snake, and then it has humanoid face, I think. Does it even have arms? I don't. You'll see it over there. So when I look at the Isfufufu, no, not the Isfufu, the Umhondoruga. When I look at it, it looks similar to what? It looks similar to Medusa, or the myth of Medusa. It slithers about. It doesn't slither. It has a body that looks like that of a snake. It's very, very tall, like 9 feet tall. And then it goes on something that has like wheels under it. It basically looks like it has a body of a snake or Medusa, but then it has wheels under it. And then when you see the markings on the soft sand that it passes through, or that it walks on, yes, that it walks on, they say it actually does, it leaves grooves of like 2 inches deep into, is it 2 inches or is it 3? But it leaves a depth of some sort in the soft sand to show that it's heavy, and it has some kind of dangerous wheels basically that it moves on. So they say that the dog or the animal, how to identify the animals that were killed by the Mhondoruga. The animals that were killed by the Mhondoruga, they don't die a natural process as they would die when killed by other means. The the animal doesn't rot. It becomes hard, like hardboard. Basically, it doesn't rot. And then when you knock on it, you can feel that it became a hard board. That's how they would die. So they say dogs, they've found dogs that died in a similar way, in that way, and they were able to see that the the Mhondoruga the dogs had encountered the Mhondoruga, and then that's how they died, basically. Going back to the ugly man, Mbondeni. The ugly man, they say that he likes to steal chicken eggs, and then he likes to abduct cows, basically. And he steals chicken eggs. Yes. He's not violent in the way that he harms people, but then he just wants to steal the chicken eggs. Is it a he or is it a she? Because I can't really tell, because the man is literally wearing an armament to protect him from the what? The Earth's atmosphere. It is said that the guy can also pass through walls, regardless of his armor being so heavy and looking that way. It can pass through walls. And then there's another guy, Ngadangada. The guy that has hands on his chest, and then he walks like this. The name Ngadangada was given to him to mimic the sound of the sound he makes when he moves. Galang, 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 galang. So that's one of the extraterrestrials. Galang, galang. Yes, I think it's enough now, because now I don't want to have to be putting a lot of pictures over here to show you guys of the more extraterrestrials, okay? Because now it does something. So those were the extraterrestrials that were encountered in Africa, okay? So also, let's talk about this. The encounter, not the encounter, basically. Remember, I said that the human was created by the giant Anu. In Japan, they call it Ainu. And then in Africa, they call him Antu. So they are the Anunnaki, basically. The reptilians are not said to be, or rather, they are not suggested to be a species which is alien to our planet. Why? Because they are not wearing a certain type of armor when they come, or upon the encounter, the many encounters. Okay. This could be false. Maybe they might not be of this environment, but they are just advanced to a point whereby they can actually coexist with us, because they also have found a much faster way of traveling here to Earth, not using spaceships, but wormholes and portals. That's how advanced those guys are. So they might be from outer space, traveling fast at the convenience of potholes. Not potholes, man. Portals. I'm sorry, guys. Portals. The convenience of portals. Okay. And also, there might be of this earth, basically. How so? These guys are not wearing any costume when you encounter them. The alien greys have been spotted all over the world not wearing any armor. Okay? The reptilians, I don't know if they've spotted them, but they are not appearing to be wearing any armor. Remember with the guys that I spoke of, the Ngadlangada, the Mhondoruga, those guys are all wearing armament. However, the reptilians, the alien grey, the tall white, are not wearing any armor. The story of the tall whites, how the picture that you see over here, the one that I put of the tall white, it comes from Baba Credo Mutwa, from one of his encounters of the abductions. Okay? So he saw alien greys that were busy doing a procedure on him, basically. NASA and all those UFO conspiracy guys would say to you that these guys, when they abduct you, they are conducting experiments on you. This cannot be further from the truth. These guys are not conducting an experiment. To conduct an experiment on humans, it would require that you be curious. Okay? The reptilian guys have been around for at least 15,000 years on this planet. Permanently. And they are planning to stay permanently over here. So in those 15,000 years, what would be so fascinating about the human body that even today, in this time, they are conducting experiments? Exactly. There's nothing like that. These guys, they know what they are doing. They harvest the humans, they abduct the humans, they harvest certain genetics to actually do one of, or to further push their agendas. Now I'm feeling exhausted now because I've been talking too much. You know, it takes too much energy, this thing. So they take the genetics of the human and then they do their agenda, basically. One of the things that they do with the human genetics is called genetic engineering. Okay? So many things that you can do with the DNA of a person. One, let me give you a scenario. It's a theory, it's not confirmed. I don't want any of these reptilian guys coming over here because I'll beat them with karate. So yes, this is my theory. This is what I'm speculating. Just with a cow and a person's tissue and the human ovary, you can clone another arsonist fire. Okay? So, you can clone a person with those things. Going deeper into genetic engineering, you can take a human and actually genetically modify them to become a hybrid human, basically. Now we are going deeper. Okay? We are going deeper. Stay tuned. And if you are driving, fasten up your seat belts. You can create a hybrid human race. One of the reasons of this would be this. A human, which is not an artificial human, comes to earth by this process. The human is first, okay, not the human. Behind the human being, there's a strong force, a powerful force, indestructible force that animates the entire human physique. What is that? It's soul, the true self. So in order for the normal processes of the gestation of the normal human being, it has to start on a soul level. The soul has to decide that, okay, I'm going down to earth to actually encounter. So this is the costume that I would take. Okay? And then it would come about as a what? Maybe your parents would have intercourse and then you come. Those are the normal ways of giving birth to the human, basically. So the human, when it comes through that process, a soul takes form in that body, basically. There's another process of creating a human or any other species, including cloning. The cloning part doesn't start on the level of the soul. It starts on the physical level. If I see arsonist fire, I want to clone an arsonist fire. I take arsonist fire's tissue, okay? I take another female's ovary or egg. Let's say egg, man. Chicken things, and then I fertilize that egg, and then I find a surrogate to incubate and basically grow that egg. And then upon the time of conception, you would then give birth to a clone, basically. But the process started on a physical level. The clone might have came from someone's mind, a concept, okay? Like the normal sexual way of actually creating a child. But then it wasn't being done in that way, okay? It's an artificial form. So, since that it's something that was done physically, on the physical level, it isn't animated by the soul. Every cause has an effect, and every effect was probably caused, or definitely caused. So if you take an egg, you take a human sperm, a human egg, you mash them up together. The physical laws, or the laws of cause and effect, bring about an effect. That effect would be a living being, basically. So regardless of the soul being involved in that creation, the fact that you are taking two physical things and fulfilling some of the laws of cause and effect, you would have an effect. That effect would be the human being. But then it didn't start on a soul level. So you are creating a counterfeit spirit. What actually is animating the body? The body is animated by prana, which is spirit, the element akasha. Okay. Going further into akasha, there's other subtle bodies, the mental body, causal body, and the higher bodies. And then until finally into the soul. Into soul. Now, if you create something from a physical level with your own mind, I'd like to say that the subtle aspect of it only ends up far into the mental body or the causal body, because it was something that was created by the mind. Okay. So the subtler body of it would be the mental body. And what is the animating force behind the physical body of such or any other physical body would be the spirit, the akasha. The akasha element is the one that animates the prana. It animates. Okay. The prana, it animates because in consciousness, in that awareness, or yes, in that awareness, there's memory, there's everything that is basically, there's all knowledge basically. So all knowledge records everything and remembers everything and knows all. So the prana distribution, the energy distribution, the normal process of living, the circulation of blood, the animation of the human body is actually being guided by the consciousness. You understand? So the consciousness takes care of that. It doesn't require a soul to actually animate. But to have a higher intelligence, higher faculties, you'd require to have soul, basically. That's why it's very hard for some counter spirits to actually be spiritual and evolve, because they don't have those highest faculties, basically. So by creating a human counterfeit, you'd actually be doing that. That's one of the things that the aliens do. Now, going back into there, the Anunnaki, the Antu, created us, African people. Okay? I don't know if it's appropriate of me to say this, man. Over here. Okay, I won't be too what, basically. I won't be too blunt. I won't take it out over here. I'll put it in riddles. So Antu created a human race, and then seeing that there were other alien species of a lesser vibration than Antu, they decided to take or to mate basically with the human to create a counterfeit species to further push on their agendas. Because the alien, the reptilian, they can't come out and be reptilian and come to Africa and be like, okay, my man, we need to rule you. Because before anything, the African sun would nyam them. Before anything, the African sun would nyam them. Okay? The African sun would nyam them. So they had to create, to genetically engineer a species that would be earthbound and be able to listen to them, to take instructions from them, to actually carry through the agenda of taking over Earth and colonizing Earth. That's why today there's such a species that can do that. It's human, but it's a counterfeit species that is being used by the reptilian to further push their agenda. Not the gender of two genders, sexuality, no. The agenda. Okay. So let's continue. And some of you will be saying that, arsonist fire, why are you doing that? Sneezing and that's sniffing. You're probably high on cocaine. You know those guys that speak like that. The ones that would be decoding somebody's video. Hey, this guy does this, is a fake guru and he does cocaine and stuff. It's fine. Whatever that you think is right, you are living in your mind basically. So I can't say that you are wrong or you are right, because that's your mind. But your mind can't influence my life and my lifestyle and liberty, because it's not my perception basically, and I won't listen to your perception. Okay, so now let's continue. They created a counterfeit species to to push their agenda further. For everything spiritual, there's a physical aspect and side of it. In the Gnosticism of Coptic Egypt, they talk of a jealous god, a lesser god, who survives on humans serving him and giving him praises. He survives off their energy. Okay? And then he wants to enslave the higher gods. So he does all those mischievous things to achieve this end. On the physical side, the equivalent of it would be the Anunnaki creating a race of people, another race of people, the reptilians, the lesser species, alien species, creating their own species to enslave the species that was created by the higher alien species, which are the Anunnaki. Which I can't really tell if we were really created by the Anunnaki. Because when you look further into some books, it is said that the human, the hierarchy of the human being, the true essence of the human being is ruling above all races, the alien races, everything, basically taking a crown, even higher than the Anunnaki. It's a question left up for debate. If you want to debate, join the group chat on WhatsApp, the Way of Dharma group chat. That's where we will link. So every spiritual concept has a physical equivalent of it. Okay. So last time when I was doing that video, my thought was this. Okay. That further rationalized that idea of mine that we are all human and we have one enemy in common, basically. And mind you, these are just thoughts. So if you want to be afraid and if you want to attack me, you are attacking me based on my opinion. It is not set in stone and it is not confirmed that it is truth. Basically, unless you see it with your eyes, then it is truth. You understand? So if you hear say, left up for debate, okay. The thought that rationalized that we are all humans having an enemy in common was this thought. Okay, why are the reptilians stealing some of their own and abducting them? If they were to be their own, why would they abduct them and conduct experiments? That was the logic behind it. Experiments on them. And also, why would they conduct experiments on African people, basically? So I was like, okay, maybe we are all humans. That's why, basically. But then I thought of this. Those guys are not conducting experiments. They've been here on Earth probably longer than 15,000 years. That was recorded history. Recorded history was 15,000 years ago. They've been here longer. So how would they be doing experiments for 15,000 years without knowing what they are doing? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Not highly Selassie. Highly unlikely. So it's highly unlikely that they are conducting experiments. They know what they are doing. So they are taking their own and further engineering a species of people so that they can bring them back here on Earth to actually push out their agenda. Before going into occultism and conspiracy theory and black consciousness, I was one of those guys that liked to watch the videos of the Illuminati. Jay-Z this, Jay-Z that, Jay-Z it. You understand? So, I came across the information that almost every celebrity has a clone, because you can't enslave a human being for the rest of their life and not having them to rebel against you. It's the nature of the human being to rebel against the controller. Finally, when you go to work, there's a day you might resign. Or there's a day where your body says, nah, I ain't gonna do this no more, man. And then you boycott the system, basically. You die in a certain way. How is it possible that the celebrities, they listen to their rulers or managers or people who are above them for so long? Is it because they are hungry? No, I don't think it's because they are hungry. You've established so much influence and power. And right now I've been selling t-shirts, okay? As a celebrity, you are basically a brand. You can sell anything and then you can make a success out of it. If you have a mind, a good mind. Even if you don't have a good mind, you can still make a living out of it. So why are these people obeying their commanders for so long? Simple. When you become a celebrity, you reach a certain stardom, and then a clone gets created, and then you are soon replaced with the clone, basically. But then there was something that always confused me about this theory. How is it possible that they can see arsonist fire accomplishing so many things, and then when arsonist fire has reached his peak in his career, his highest heights in his career, how are they able to replace arsonist fire with a clone? Like so. Let me tell you something very nice. Okay. To further prove to you that there's the existence of clones, there's a movie by Will Smith, basically. Gemini Man, he has many clones, okay, that were created to be master assassins, basically. So they made clones of that great assassin. So to preserve his skills, to preserve his efficiency, his accuracy in whatever job that he was doing, they had to create a clone, something similar to him, something that had a certain ability similar to him. But then, how is it possible to notice that arsonist fire would grow up to be somebody powerful? So let's create a clone that will grow side by side with arsonist fire. When arsonist fire reaches 25, the clone will also be 25. Therefore, we won't need arsonist fire anymore. We put in that clone. How is it possible? It's very possible. You can grow up and accomplish anything and become whatever that you want, basically, and reach the highest heights of your career. After doing that, they get a certain control over you, basically, and then you can't run away from them. Okay? And then they start to do what? When you have the mental breakdown, as was seen by Kanye West, when you have that mental breakdown, they take you to a certain hospital where they can maybe take your human tissue or human cells, and then they can either kill you or put you somewhere where they will put you in bars. Mama, right? Where so I'm talking about Kanye West, and a car passes by playing music by Kanye West, so I could hear it, and I was singing along. So they put you somewhere in hiding, in basements, basically, and then they take that clone, okay, that cell, and then they go and create a clone. How is it that they are able to grow a clone to 25 years in such a short time? In the abductions of the people that were abducted by these species, you can go today on let me see the date. It would be the 6th of April. You can go today and maybe come back 2 days later. Okay? You can be abducted today and come back 2 days later, being older. Okay? Or you can go for what seems to be like 2 days or 2 years, and then you have actually went for like 40 years, because time isn't the same. Basically, they travel through time. They are that advanced. So it is possible to actually steal your human cells, human tissue, take the egg, go and create the clone in 2 days here on Earth. What would be maybe 40 years over there. Okay, so it would be fast, because you see what I mean, because of the time difference. There's different time zones here on Earth. So imagine abducting you and then going into the future, okay, cloning you here and then sending you into the future, and then you coming back 2 days later to find that you are a clone and you've grown so fast. And this is one of my speculations, my theories on this cloning thing, because it doesn't make sense how they would foresee that someone would be such a strong public figure and then they clone them in advance to actually create something that would further push their agenda. So many things are being said to happen to those that were abducted. Organ harvesting, genetic harvesting, genetic engineering, cloning. It has to do with genes, basically. Anything that they do, they know what they are doing, and it can be confirmed that they know that they are doing, because of Baba Credo Mutwa says that whatever that they were doing to him, they knew what they were doing, and they were focused on doing it. Whereas when you're conducting an experiment, you would be excited. What's that? A nipple. Nyam, let me nyam it and try to eat it. Tastes like sweets, That would be the approach to a situation when you're actually experimenting with things. But those guys, they knew where to poke, what to suck through, what to inject, what to operate, and what to do, basically. So they were not experimenting, they knew what they were doing. They are not experimenting, they know what they are doing. So those guys that tell us that they are experimenting, please stop censoring things. The human is awakening, and at a rapid rate, and I don't know when the human wakes up and finds out that we're actually working in alliance with those things, what will happen to you? Om Namah Shivay. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for listening to the way of Dharma. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining the group chat. And please expect more from the way of Dharma, more content from the way of Dharma. This is just a phase, a season where I feel it's plausible to talk about such things, because it sparked a certain curiosity in me Within no time, we'll be returning back to our yoga, our African spirituality, our Western magical practice, and the Luciferian things and those spiritualities basically. But know that a certain focus has been stolen from us. We are being told what to focus upon, even in occult matters, what to meditate upon, what to try and achieve spiritually. Whereas there's something going on behind bars, behind the picture, being orchestrated. Because why? Whatever that is orchestrated in secrecy is bound to happen, because there is no one to impede that plan. That's why whenever you want to plan something, don't tell anyone, okay? Just do it in secrecy. So guys, open your eyes, know these things, know this is what is happening, and please be patient. The way of Dharma will be talking about the Dharma things in no time. Peace to everyone. Peace to my Indian brothers. Peace to my American brothers. Peace to Nigerian brothers. South African brothers. Peace to the white people. Peace to everyone. Pan here. And I'm out.